Never assume your baby wakes up at 3 a.m. because they are hungry or because their teeth are hurting. The real reason is hidden in a mistake you make every single afternoon without even realizing it. If you are watching this with bloodshot eyes and a cold cup of coffee in your hand, I know exactly how you feel. 3 a.m. is that dark, lonely hour where you start questioning all your life choices. While your baby stares at you from the crib with their eyes wide open, ready to play or screaming their lungs out. Today, I'm going to explain the exact science of why your child's brain short-circuits at that specific time of night, and most importantly, I'm going to give you the exact strategy to reprogram their biological clock so you can finally sleep through the night again. But be careful, the solution isn't in what you do in the middle of the night, but in a tiny detail that happens in broad daylight. Let's talk about the torture that is sleep deprivation. It's not just normal tiredness. It's a fatigue that sinks right into your bones. You start forgetting basic words. You cry at a TV commercial, and you feel like you are failing as a parent. Studies on sleep deprivation in new parents show that a lack of continuous rest affects the front part of the brain, the exact area that controls emotional regulation and decision-making. Basically, at 3 a.m., you are operating with the same mental capacity as someone who just drank 4 beers. And your baby, the king or queen of the house, has absolutely no idea about this. To understand how to fix this mess, we have to talk about simple biology. Imagine your baby's sleep is controlled by 2 invisible forces, playing a game of 2. The first force is called sleep pressure. Picture this as a backpack your baby is wearing. Every minute your baby is awake, we put a rock in that backpack. The longer they are awake, the heavier the backpack gets, and the more they want to sleep. When you finally put them to bed at 7 or 8 at night, that backpack is completely full. They fall fast asleep during the first few hours of the night. From the time they fall asleep until around midnight, their body empties that backpack quickly. Their sleep is deep, heavy, almost like a rock. You can make noise, vacuum the house, and they won't even notice. But at 3 a.m., the backpack is empty. The sleep pressure is completely gone. There is no more weight keeping them buried in that deep sleep. This is where the second force comes in, the circadian rhythm, or the biological clock. This clock runs on hormones. The 2 big stars here are melatonin, which is the hormone of darkness and sleep, and cortisol, which is the hormone of stress and being awake. When you put your baby to bed, their melatonin is through the roof. But guess what happens exactly between 3 and 4 in the morning? Melatonin their body stops producing it. And at the exact same time, cortisol starts creeping in little by little to prepare them to wake up in the morning. So, put the 2 things together. At 3 a.m., there is 0 sleep pressure, and there is no melatonin. The baby is in such a light state of sleep that a fly buzzing by, a 1-degree temperature drop, or a tiny noise from the street is going to pull them right out of their sleep. And once they open their eyes in this state, you are in trouble. And this is where we introduce the real problem, the trap the vast majority of parents fall into. The problem isn't that they wake up. All human beings wake up multiple times a night. You do it too. You fix your pillow, pull up the blanket, and go back to sleep without even remembering it the next day. The problem is that your baby doesn't know how to connect one sleep cycle to the next. We call this a sleep association. Think about how your baby fell asleep at 7 at night. Did you rock them in your arms until they passed out? Did you give them the breast or the bottle until they closed their eyes? Did you pop a pacifier in their mouth and rub their head? If you did any of these things, you just created a rule in your baby's brain. Their brain says that in order to go from awake to asleep, they need movement, they need milk, or they need to be petted at 3 a.m. When they naturally wake up because their sleep is super light, they look around and panic. Their brain processes something like, wait a minute, I fell asleep in warm arms, moving side to side. Now I'm on a flat mattress, completely still, and alone. Something is wrong, and they start crying. They aren't crying because they are hungry, or because they are in pain. They cry because the conditions they fell asleep in have vanished, and they literally don't know how to turn their brain back off without them. They are calling you to come recreate the magic of 7 p.m., and there is an even worse challenge. The myth of being over. A lot of people on the street or in your family will tell you that if they wake up so much at night, it's because they sleep too much during the day. They will advise you to cut out their naps so they go to bed really tired and sleep through the night. This is, without a doubt, the absolute worst lie you will ever hear about infant sleep. A baby's biology works exactly the opposite of an adult's. Sleep breeds. Sleep breeds sleep. If you force your baby to stay awake during the day, their brain gets stressed. And when a baby's brain gets stressed, it releases an avalanche of cortisol. That hormone we talked about earlier. Cortisol is like a double espresso shot injected straight into their veins. Nighttime comes, you put the overtired baby to bed, and sure, maybe they fall asleep fast out of pure exhaustion, but that cortisol is still rushing through their blood. And what time do you think that cortisol explodes and shatters their sleep? Exactly at 3 a.m. An overtired baby is a baby who wakes up in the middle of the night and is completely impossible to get back to sleep, because their body is full of chemical adrenaline. So how do we fix this chaos? Let's map out the attack plan. There are 3 very specific steps you have to follow to the letter if you want to sleep through the night. Again, the first step is fixing their wake windows during the day. A wake window is simply the amount of time your baby can stay awake before their brain needs to reboot. If your baby is 4 months old, their window is about 2 hours. If they are 8 months old, maybe it's 3 hours. You have to become a detective of these windows. If your child goes to bed at 7 at night, you need to calculate exactly what time they need to wake up from their last nap. If the last nap was terrible or they skipped it, that baby is going to reach bedtime totally over. Adjusting the daytime schedule and making sure they get quality naps is your protective shield against those middle-of-the-night wake-ups. You have to burn off their energy during the day. Take them outside to get sunlight to regulate their biological clock, and respect their nap times like they are sacred. The second step is the radical optimization of their room. And I say radical because most parents are way too soft on this. We are talking about 3 a.m. here, when their sleep is hanging by a thread. Anything wakes them up. First, the light. The room shouldn't be a little dark. It needs to be a cave where you can't see your own hand in front of your face. No little blue light from the monitor. No beam of light from the street lamp coming through the blinds. Total darkness is the only signal that tells their brain to keep producing melatonin, because it's still nighttime. Put black trash bags on the windows if you have to, but make it a cave, and then there's the temperature. This is a fascinating scientific fact. At 3 a.m., the core body temperature of all human beings drops to its coldest point. If the room is cold and your baby loses body heat, they will wake up. Make sure they have a proper sleep sack. Not loose blankets, which are dangerous, but a sleep sack or pajamas that keep them at a steady temperature of around 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If they are cold at 3 a.m., they won't go back to sleep. And don't forget the white noise. A continuous, monotonous white noise that sounds like an old fan or rain blocks out the noises from the house or the street. But it has to be on all night long, not just when they fall asleep. If the sound shuts off at 2 a.m., that sudden silence is going to wake them up at 3. The third step is the hardest one of all, and it requires nerves of steel. It's called the pause rule. Remember that at 3 a.m. your baby's sleep is very light. They transition from one cycle to another, and sometimes, on that bridge between cycles, they make noise. They fuss, they groan, they whine, they might even let out a short cry, or open their eyes and sit up. Our natural instinct as parents, driven by the pure panic of being fully woken up, is to jump out of bed like a spring, run into the room, grab the baby, and shove a pacifier or a bottle in their mouth to quiet them down. But guess what happens? 90% of the time, the baby wasn't actually awake. They were in an active transition phase of sleep. And by rushing into the room like a maniac, touching them, and talking to them, you just woke them up completely. You are the reason they are wide awake. The pause rule works like this. When you hear your baby at 3 a.m., look at the clock and wait 3 full minutes. 180 seconds. Do nothing. Just breathe and listen. 3 minutes feels like 3 years when your kid is whining, but I promise you, it is the key to success. In the vast majority of cases, the baby will fuss a bit, roll around in the crib a couple of times, rub their face against the mattress, and connect their sleep cycle all on their own. You are giving them the space to practice the skill of self-soothing. Obviously, if the crying escalates, if it's a cry of pain or total panic, you go into the room and attend to them. But if it's a protest, cry, or just a simple complaint while they sleep, do the pause. This tiny little tool has saved the sanity of thousands of families. And now I want to address the real elephant in the room. How to take away that crutch they use to fall asleep at 7 p.m. Because if they keep falling asleep in your arms, the 3 a.m. pause isn't going to magically work. They need to learn how to fall asleep in their crib from the very beginning of the night. I'm not telling you to let them cry it out alone with no comfort. That's a technique you don't need to use here. I'm talking about making gradual changes. If you rock them to sleep, tonight you are going to rock them. But you are going to put them down in the crib when they are relaxed, with heavy eyes, but still awake. They will protest. Of course they will. You are changing the rules of the game. You stay right by their side, put your hand on their chest, make a soft shushing sound, but you don't pick them right back up. The goal is for the last thing they see before they close their eyes to be their mattress and the bars of their crib, not your face. If you can get them to go from awake to asleep on their own at the beginning of the night, you just handed them the key to the universe. Because the next time they wake up at 3 a.m., they will look around and their brain will register that they are in the crib. The exact same place where they fell asleep. Everything is exactly the same as when they closed their eyes. They will understand that they don't need to call anyone and that they can just keep sleeping. They will turn their head, sigh, and go right back to sleep. I want to take you to that exact moment. The climax every parent experiences when all of this finally clicks. You will have spent 3 or 4 days applying these rules. Adjusting naps, blacking out the room, holding your breath during the 3-minute pause in the middle of the night while you stare at the monitor. You are exhausted from being so consistent. You feel like it's not working as fast as you'd like. And then, night 5 arrives. You put your baby to bed at 7:30. They fall asleep in their crib, nice and calm, after a little white noise. You go to bed, and suddenly, you open your eyes. You go into full panic mode. Your heart is racing at 1,000 miles an hour. You look through the crack in the window and see sunlight creeping in. You grab your phone, practically shaking, and check the time. It is 6:30 in the morning. You jump out of bed thinking something terrible has happened. You tiptoe down the hall, slowly open their bedroom door, and there they are. Sleeping peacefully with their little butt in the air, breathing softly. They didn't wake up. Or if they did wake up at 3 a.m., they didn't call for you. They did it. And you just slept 8 straight hours for the first time in months. You feel reborn. You feel like the colors in your house are shining brighter. You have endless energy. You realize you weren't depressed about parenting. You were just horribly tired. And now, you have your control back. Your baby is rested, happy, and smiling when they see you walk in. And you are a fully functioning human being again. So let's summarize this so you don't forget it. Because I know your sleep-deprived parent brain needs absolute clarity right now. Your baby wakes up at 3 a.m. because at that time, sleep pressure is at 0 and melatonin disappears, leaving them in a super light sleep. To fix this and prevent that light waking from turning into a 2-hour midnight party, you need to do 3 non-negotiable things. Number 1, prevent overtiredness by protecting their daytime wake windows so cortisol doesn't explode at night. Number 2, turn their room into a pitch-black bunker, at the perfect temperature, with continuous white noise. And number 3, eliminate the sleep association by putting them in the crib, awake but drowsy at the start of the night. And always, without fail, apply the 3-minute pause rule before you rush in to rescue them at 3 a.m. Remember, you are not being a bad dad or a bad mom by not running in at the first midnight whimper. You are giving your child the most important life tool that exists, which is the ability to rest and repair their own body, without relying on you as their only sleeping pill. You have everything you need to change your nights this very week. Be patient, trust the process of their biology, and get ready to start dreaming in your own bed again. If you want to know exactly how to get your baby to stop taking 20-minute naps, and start taking long, restorative naps during the day, click on this video on the screen right now.